Good early morning, everybody. This is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. Of course, I wanted to get you another video, but the criminals put me to sleep while I'm sitting here at the laptop. They think it's funny. They're control freaks. It's August 17, 2024. This is just another Q&A. It's another question that I found on Quora and the answer was really interesting. So I wanted to bring it to your attention. Please hit the thumbs up, like if you feel inclined to do so, and here we go. Question is, what is the process of becoming a targeted individual? Is there a way for them to stop being targeted, or is it a permanent situation? The answer is, I recently read a book, MK Tech Invasion and Mind Control. You can find it on Amazon. It describes how the technology of mind control works. In this book, the whole technology is explained in detail. The author has a career in computer science and systems analyst developer, postgraduate program in computer forensics, and cyber expertise. The writer shows with graphics how the information contained in the person's brain can be read remotely, and also presents images to the programs that the hackers use to carry out this horrendous crime. It's simply impressive. I recommend all and any targeted individuals do the same, as reading it had a huge positive impact on my psychological state. In fact, after finding out about it, I gained strength to fight against this evil force. I am gathering information and doing my best to share this knowledge with the aim of making this become public and general knowledge as soon as possible, so that this barbarism ends as soon as possible. Furthermore, I would highly recommend that every targeted individual take the time to read about cognitive dissonance on Wikipedia, to understand the psychological process that victims go through while they are being tortured and do not understand what is actually happening, and their minds desperately search for answers. And this will bring great peace to mind to continue in their daily battle against the unbelievable evil. Thank you, and stay strong. Whether monitoring is temporary or permanent depends on the operator's objective. To shed some light on this, an excerpt from the book mentioned above as follows. In addition to completely violating the privacy of the targeted person, other people who are around them, interacting directly with the victim, are also involved, violating the privacy of third parties. And the severity of this invasion gradually becomes apparent with each interaction with other people. These day-to-day interactions generate content that can be of any nature, from a simple conversation about trivial current events, intimate conversations with romantic relationships, conversations with friends that can bring up childhood topics, family or school conversations or topics that have meaningful context only for the people involved, but which can carry with them some content that directly affects each one. They can assess memories charged with positive emotions or evoke memories modulated by painful emotions. It can become a topic that will be remembered and then die right there. A casual encounter that occurs in real life can be captured and evaluated by operators and used for attacks via telesynth, synthetic electronic telepathy, later, as well as subjects in situations considered routine and unimportant to normal people who do not have their brains hijacked by MK Tech. However, the situation worsens when the conversation has quality, whether of economic or commercial relevance, potential intellectual property, confidential subject exposing secrets, creative products to be stolen and patented, and any other idea that may have value. So absolutely everything is absorbed, captured, and stored in MK Tech. Oh yes, they do that in the targeted individual community too, because these alleged leaders know who the real targeted people are, and they steal your ideas and intellectual property. So we have two distinct and concomitant purposes in the use of this tool. One of a commercial nature, stealing ideas and products, and the second with a highly nefarious and fatal purpose solely to collect information about the target's privacy, their cycle of coexistence to be used as ammunition in later attacks. Personal information about close relatives captured in conversations can be used to fuel the attack, threaten and create an atmosphere of superiority, morally diminishing the target and producing hesitation and doubts about the success of any reactive action against the perpetrators. Since by radiating extremely personal information about their relatives, they demonstrate a unique ability to control the entire environment that revolves around them. Then they begin to verify the interaction between the target and world around them, especially in the social aspects. People who know nothing about MK Tech are unwittingly involved in this dark world. There is a program that acts in a similar way to Lerna, Lerna. However, in this area of telephony and telematic interception, it is used by intelligence and security authorities, called Guardian, which automatically taps every phone that makes contact with the main phone, the object of the investigation. In case of Lerna, what is being tapped is the other person's nervous system, and these waves that amplify and interact with the brain over time cause physical and psychological damage to any mammal, even if it is not exposed to radiation for a long time. If the operator eventually hears a conversation that is relevant to his or her data objectives, the person who interacted with the target will have their brain silently connected to the scheme using only the LERN, L-E-R-N, neural remote electronic reader. A parallel recording process will be initiated, which will store and select the relevance of the topic thought about human interference. Subsequently, a computer algorithm will divide the topics based on parameters pre-configured by the operators until successfully extracts a topic that can be used against the target or that has commercial relevance. And could you imagine you're having a conversation talking to your pet, and then they go and interact with the brain of your mammal to damage it, even if it's not exposed to radiation for a long time? Is that disgusting? These people are sick. So somebody responds, one thing you need to keep in mind is that there is no reason for what they're doing. That is, you're not being punished for anything. The torture is being done for the pleasure of the torturers. They're extremely sick and weak people who have nothing in their lives except the pleasure of seeing the suffering they manage to bring to the lives of people who have things that they want to destroy. Be sure that you are the master of your life. Do not let yourself be discouraged by any of the words they direct at you, any of the insults, any of the comments, any of the accusations. They are weak and desperate for your attention, and mainly thirsty for some sign that what they are doing is causing you some suffering. The moment you do not let yourself be disturbed by what they're trying to do, you are free. Remember, it is a psychological battle, and that is all. So now I pulled up the definition for cognitive dissonance, which is something that I definitely was experiencing very early in the program. I would go home, from going out, I would go out, go home, and then I would find slice marks underneath my carpets. And my mind was not going to the fact that somebody was actually coming into my house and vandalizing it. for me to see eventually. But I wasn't thinking that. You know why? Why? Well, I had very secure locks on my doors. I had multiple deadbolts. I had a security system. I had cameras. I had security, and I had an alarm system. With all of that security and all of those deadbolts and all of those locks, there was no way that somebody could be getting into my house when I wasn't there. Right? I had no idea. I had no idea. But I would still look at my carpets and say, what the hell is going on here? Like, how is it possible that there's somebody sliced them from underneath? So my mind was split, thinking, how is this possible? My house is so secure. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we have military grade technology and criminals that are moved in around you to cause this despicable behavior. They could unlock every door. They could unlock every deadbolt. They have remote controls to get into your garage. They would come in and unlock your door, your windows, so they can come in at night. But of course, your mind wouldn't go there, because you know for sure that you lock every window in that house, and there are certain windows that you never open. They're always locked. So your mind just doesn't go there, that somebody's breaking in and opening a window and keeping it unlocked, and that somebody's coming in at night, until months later you realize that a window is open. It is unlocked, and that people are coming into your house. And no, you're not crazy. Somebody really is doing this to you. So in the field of psychology, cognitive dissonance is described as the mental disturbance people feel when they realize their cognitions and actions are inconsistent or contradictory. This may ultimately result in some change in their cognitions or actions to cause greater alignment between them, so as to reduce the dissonance. And according to this theory, when an action or idea is psychologically inconsistent with the other, people do all in their power to change either so that they can become consistent. The discomfort is triggered by a person's belief that my house is secure, I've got all of these locks, clashing with the new information perceived. I've got slice marks underneath all my carpets. Wherein the discomfort is triggered by the person's belief clashing with new information perceived, wherein the individual tries to find a way to resolve the contradiction to reduce the discomfort. So finally, I realized that a window is unlocked, and people are coming into my house, and there are criminals that were moved in next door to me, and they are spying on me. And yes, they are jumping onto my porch and opening up my front door and throwing my cosmetics into the front hallway, because they'd already been in my house, in my bedroom, and have stolen those items. This is a psychological program created by psychopaths to take down an individual for kicks and giggles, because they're sick, depraved lunatics. So the relations among cognitions, the function in the reality of society, human beings continually adjust the correspondence of their mental attitudes and personal actions. Such continual adjustments between cognition and action result in one of three relationships with reality. 1. A consonant relationship, which is a cognition or action consistent with the other. Not wanting to be, for example, not wanting to become drunk when out for dinner and ordering water rather than wine. 2. Irrelevant relationship, a cognition or action unrelated to the other. For example, not wanting to become drunk when out and wearing a shirt. Number 3, dissonant relationship is a cognition or action inconsistent with the other. For example, not wanting to become drunk when out, but then drinking more wine anyway. I mean, how ridiculous is that? Then there's the term magnitude of dissonance, which refers to the level of discomfort caused to the person. This can be caused by the relationship between the two different internal beliefs or an action that is incompatible with the beliefs of the person. Two factors determine the degree of psychological dissonance caused by the two conflicting cognitions or by two conflicting actions. One is the importance of the cognitions, which is the greater the personal value of the elements, the greater the magnitude of the dissonance to the relation. When the value of the importance of the two dissonant items is high, it is difficult to determine which action or thought is correct. Both have had a place of truth, at least subjectively, in the mind of the person. Therefore, when the ideals or actions now clash, it is difficult for the individual to decide which takes priority. Number two is the ratio of cognitions, which is the proportion of dissonant to consonant elements. There's a level of discomfort within each person that is acceptable for living. When a person is within that comfort level, the dissonant factors do not interfere with functioning. However, when dissonant factors are abundant and not enough in line with each other, one goes through a process to regulate and bring the ratio back to an acceptable level. Once a subject chooses to keep one of the dissonant factors, they quickly forget the other to restore peace of mind. And this is what these criminals do to us on a regular basis, is throw bizarre stuff in our path, right? Bizarre stuff like, all of your security lights start falling off of the trees all in the same day. Or all of your water barrels are systemically emptied, right? How is that possible that somebody's going to empty a 550-pound water barrel, right? Nobody thinks that somebody could possibly be coming onto your property and tipping it over. When in fact, one morning I woke up and it was on the floor. So this is what happens. So I hope this little Q&A was helpful to you. And this book that he's describing, this new technology, this is the first time I'm hearing about MK Tech, that these criminals are hijacking our brains with MK Tech. And that these criminals are either using it for perverted, sadistic pleasure or for their economic or commercial relevance, meaning that they're hacking your intellectual property, your dreams, exposing secrets, personal things, maybe things that are within your family that you know. Maybe they're not your ideas, but perhaps there are people in your family that you know and have related to, obviously, and have shared information with. And these criminals are hacking into your entire history. This is very sick and sinister. I wonder how it would feel to them if the wheels were reversed and they're the people that were going to be hacked. They're the ones that are going to be stalked and targeted, and their privacy would be broadcasted to all these local criminals, these losers that have nothing better to do with their sorry lives than to torment another person. They're bullies. It's mobbing. It's deeply disturbing. And most of them are psychologically depraved. I think about this small town, right? And many of the people never moved from here. They grew up here. I can't even imagine being here for your entire life. I just can't. What do you learn? I mean, I moved around. I lived in New York City. I lived in the Bronx. I lived in Queens. I lived in New Jersey. I'm living here. I've traveled around the country. I mean, how do you expand your level of consciousness, your intellect, by staying in the same place your whole life? That is not growth, it's stagnation. But it's that stagnation. That's stagnation that causes this perversion of wanting to look into other people's lives, because they can't get up their sorry asses and move around and get out of this town and go see the way other people live and learn and grow. So instead, anybody that moves around here, they've got to spy and use things against people, because they've got nothing else to do with their sorry ass lives. So yes, the individual says, we have two distinct and concomitant purposes for the use of this tool. One is commercial in nature, stealing ideas and products, and the second is highly nefarious and fatal purpose, solely to collect information about the target's privacy. Their cycle of coexistence be used as ammunition in later attacks. These people are sick and depraved. They're the ones that are psychopaths. Anybody that created a program like this has got to be deranged and depraved. But anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I hope you enjoy this Q&A. And the question, we'll go back to the initial question was, what is the process of becoming a targeted individual, and is there a way for them to stop being targeted, or is it a permanent situation? And the book that was described here is MK Tech, Invasion and Mind Control. And you can find it on Amazon. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for all the newcomers, and thank you for subscribing and hitting the like and sharing if you feel inclined to do so. And just remember, the targeted individuals are crimes against humanity by subhuman psychopaths. And in the Mark Rich book, it basically said that they were sadistic, Satanist. They were Satanist psychopaths. There you go. Satanist psychopaths. Signing off for now.